Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CONCAFA Pod. I am one of your hosts, Bubba Gumpino, joined by two U.S. footy legends, Geoff Cameron and Brek Shea. How we doing, lads?
We're doing well, mate. How are you doing?
All is well. Canada crashed out of the Gold Cup in penalties, and Jesse Marsch is making excuses. All is going well in the Canada camp. How is everything there?
You know what? Just the fact that we started this show off again on Jesse Marsch it's going to be a great episode. For the Jesse Marsch thing, he ate his words.
Always does.
He
Always
does. He shoots himself in the foot.
He did it in fucking Leeds. He's doing it in all you got to do is just coach. And guess what? Maybe the players saw you take a red card and then they take a stupid red card before half. And then you're up 1-0 with 10 men and you're still trying to play attacking football. Like, maybe we just sit in and try and get to the semis.
I mean, was that a red card?
It was a second yellow. I didn't see the first yellow.
It was a second yellow?
Yeah, that was a second yellow. I don't know what the first yellow looked like. That guy's never been sent off in his whole career. So
I'm a fan of him as well.
Yeah, I like him. He's a good player, but I mean, you just can't lose that game. You just hold on for dear life and find a way to win it.
But then the cheekiness that he has to say that after, we're missing a few guys, but still, I believe in these guys. We should have done better. Okay,
there's nothing wrong with saying that, but don't say the thing in the beginning.
Yeah,
you just stab at the
100%.
US, right?
And
that's what I'm saying. You just gotta. You know what? It's like this is the Gold Cup. There's going to be the World Cup. Jesse Marsch has to figure out a way, if he's going to coach Canada, to just focus on what fucking Canada soccer is doing. That's your job. Not fucking worrying about everything that happens with this U.S. team, whether you took the interview, whether you got offered. None of that matters. You didn't have to answer any of those questions before the tournament either. You offered them up. Just focus on Canada soccer, man. You talk about this being the golden generation for U.S. soccer, everybody said. This is by far the golden generation of Canadian soccer. Made one World Cup before the last one in 1986. And now you're hosting one with some good fucking players. Let's try and make the most of it.
And by the way, the building, the foundation that was built the last World Cup and how they performed, they didn't make it out of the group, but hey, they went toe-to-toe.
With Croatia, man.
And they performed, they were entertaining. They weren't miles off it. They were on it. And for me, it just says a lot where I think he wants to make it about himself. And I think that's always kind of been him, even playing against them when I was a rookie and playing a couple of years. It's always about him. He'd just talk a lot on the field. I think he was really one of the only trash talkers that I played against in the MLS, really. And it was known with, I played with Brian Ching, Brian Mullen, Craig Weibel, all these guys are he talks a lot of trash on the field. But now you're representing Canada and their federation. Just focus on Canada and stop worrying about these little things. So if a reporter comes, and we all know, we've gone through it, you be politically correct.
Yep.
If a reporter asks you, hey, the U.S. Christian Pulisic doesn't go in. Okay, I'm not worried about that. All I care about is
that's their decision.
Who's here?
Yep.
And then it's done.
Yeah.
It's not talked about. But when you give ammo and you give people a reason to just root against you, that's stupidity on your own by yourself. You're bringing that on yourself, and then to make the comment oh yeah, I didn't get any phone calls, not wanting to come into camp because they all want to be here. And then you immediately after you get knocked out, we're missing a few players. Oh, I guess they lost your number then, Jesse.
Well, he tried to call one of the players that lost at the Club World Cup. He called one of those players right after he lost the night before and asked him to travel to play in that game. And the team he was with was I forget who it was, and that's on me and what team it was, but they were he's not fucking traveling there to play that. He just played today.
Yeah.
Because when we were playing, when I played in Gold Cup, you were able to add players after group stage.
Yeah.
No, is that what you were speaking of?
Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
he was trying to grab a player who just got knocked out of the Club World Cup to play a day later in the Gold Cup, and that team was like, "We're not sending him
Yeah.
there. Like, that's not happening."
All right. Well, is this a highlight for Canada? Jonathan David to Juventus? Is that a real thing?
Hey, Fabrizio's been pushing Jonathan David
Yeah.
for about 5 years now, so I'm happy for him. Fabrizio got his he's got his name on the scores he's putting out in the middle now. I'm happy for him with that. But
Well, with that, if he's linked to Juventus and that happens, I mean, I did see Tim Weah. He's on the outs of them trying to get to Forest, and that was, I think, from the
That
report
deal's done.
from Fabrizio. Hey,
Fabrizio said it's done. It's
done.
it's not
He
real.
said no.
well, those guys hate Italian
Fell
food
through.
anyway, so I won't worry about
Yeah.
it.
I mean, that's just tone deaf there. I mean, listen, I support Tim Weah and Weston, but dude, come on, you're at one of the biggest clubs in Italy. You know they pride themselves on food. Listen, I'm playing in England, I could say, yeah, the food is shit
Yeah.
because the food is shit.
Fucking beans and toast,
But you're
brother.
insulting the culture, you know? Like,
Yeah,
that's
legit.
just something you don't do.
Dude.
And you
You
just
want
say,
free
okay,
food when you go out there. You know what I mean? Don't smash it.
they're gonna kill you for it now.
Wow. I mean,
But that's just little things.
Juventus is, after what I read, like, you're telling me 10 players asked to be subbed off in that Real Madrid game? Like, that can't be.
No chance.
There's no way that's real. And if it is, I mean, it's not I understand it's hot, but you just played a
It's
World
not
Cup.
that hot.
You played a
It's
World
not
Cup
that
in
hot.
Qatar. It's 97
Yeah.
in Germany right now. You know, it's 90 in Spain right now. Like, I don't understand this. I get these players are pissed off. They got to play in this tournament and whatever. But it's like those Al-Hilal players each getting $5 million for winning that game. That's pretty
Phenomenal.
fucking sweet. And guess what? If your team wins $100 million, you can buy 2 very good players before the window closes with that money on top of everybody getting extra cash.
Yeah.
Like, it's
100%.
pretty fucking massive, and that's why all these players are playing.
And
Well, to be honest, like it was pretty cloudy here yesterday too, so it's not even like the sun was out. So I don't know what they're
it's a
complaining about.
little humid, you know. They're sensitive, you
Nah.
could say, you know. But no, let's be real here. The humidity, the heat, all that, dude, it's no different from going to Asia and going playing over there in the summer for preseason deals. Like, that happens all the time. Okay, you get hydrated, you get extra water breaks. There's water breaks in the middle of the game. Come on, these are excuses for me. And okay, yeah, it's extra. Let's just talk about the schedule. The guys finish their season, they have a couple weeks off, they join up with the national team, they play in their qualifiers, you know, the Nations League, whatever it is. Then they go and join up with their team again. Okay, now it might be some downtime. We see some Man City players, they bring in their whole family, they're going to go on vacation for a couple weeks before they go into preseason. Okay, that's fine. But come on, when you get 5 million, right, each, I mean, sir, let's be real.
I'll tell you what,
These
dude,
that was
players,
the best game I watched.
Al-Hilal
that
has
was, for
fucking,
me,
I'm telling you what, from start to finish, and they weren't in an easy group either. They've been playing tough teams this whole tournament. That
Yeah.
Al-Hilal team, fucking kudos, man. Hats off, because from start to finish, they have been unbelievable in this tournament no matter what happens. And you talk about, they went down to City twice,
Yeah.
blew leads to City, and came back and still won. Like, that's incredible, man.
and you know what? It just shows you the depth of the league in Saudi and what they're doing to push talent, good quality players, because guess what? Their product. That's a really good product.
Yeah.
And I believe they finished third in the season, right?
That's wild.
They beat Ronaldo's team in the playoffs to get to here. So you look at that and you go, shit. Then you got Inter Miami, you got Seattle LAFC. I'm sorry, but when you go toe to toe with Man City and you think they got the Rodri back, they got the big players back, they're starting to find their form.
Spent $500 million since January on players that are all there.
Yep. Let's just say in the first half, Man City played some beautiful footy. Like they were moving it. It was like, how do they, it should be 2 or 3 goals, right? But they stick around. They're involved in the game. Cancelo plays an unbelievable pass. I mean, it was good back and forth entertainment the entire match. And it's against world class players, top to bottom. And you know what? It just shows the depth of the league, the quality that they have. And you compare that to the MLS. I'm sorry. You take a Man City team against any MLS team, not a fucking chance they stand up and fight and play against like that in that caliber of game. No chance. The depth is not good enough. We don't have world class players. Okay, yeah, we have Messi, we have Jordi Alba, we have Busquets, but you take that Inter Miami team or you take those players out, what do we have for depth?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to be able to compete with a team like Man City?
They gotta get rid of the. I tell you what, if you want to fucking keep growing the game, I know the teams that have spent money are not doing very well. Galaxy, LAFC, just let Giroud go. But you got to let these teams fucking spend, man. It's the only way. You can throw the designated player out, as far as I'm concerned, too, because you can't. You've shown now what it looks like, and it's like
Yeah, if you
that
want to
game,
compete with the big boys,
buddy.
you got to do that.
Like I thought, I was like Inter Miami was down 1, and I was like, okay, maybe we get to half at 1, and then we'll see what happens. And it's like bang, 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 own goal, like, and it's like they weren't great goals. It's like PSG or not PSG. Inter Miami's defending is so bad. Like you saw the first goal, great ball whipped in, guy's wide ass open, and you got Falcone just puts his arm up. That's all he does on any cross. He just puts his fucking arm up. It's like, can you grab a guy, mark a man?
And it's split between both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. You can run 20 yards with nobody even blink an eye at you and just get a free header.
And I'd like to think these things are true, that Messi's going to stay, but it's Suarez is going to retire. Like Busquets looks behind it. Jordi Alba's the only one that's still really going at a high level. He's staying there. It's like you're going to have to find some players. Like, who are you going to play up top if Suarez retires? That 18-year-old? Like, there's no other options up there.
Yeah. I
So-
mean, you're saying that, but Jordi Alba got played in behind.
Yeah.
Totally lost when they scored 1 goal. Busquets lost the ball in the middle of the park. Scored I believe the second or third one.
The one
Those
goal.
are supposed to be their guys.
Yeah.
Trucks.
The one goal was a giveaway off a fucking free kick, man. Like at half. Like that's a ball you just play to somebody. That's not a hard ball.
And can we talk about that game that, I've heard people say, and this kind of like, it made me chuckle a little bit because you have Luis Enrique, like obviously the PSG coach, Barcelona guy, Messi, they have that connection with all those guys. And then you have, and I'm not saying this happened, but I definitely do believe there was I have a feeling there was a little word on in the second half. It was 4-0 at halftime, and you're going in the second half. And for me, it wasn't like the PSG that was, they were down their throat pretty much the entire first half.
Their goalies,
And they scored.
Inter Miami's lucky their goalie's good. That guy stands
Yeah.
on his head every fucking game.
And
Legitimately.
he made some. I mean, it could have been a lot more, right, in the first half. But Miami held on. They weren't. PSG wasn't as clinical as they usually are, but they still put 4 in the back of the net in the first half. Then you go in the second half, and it seemed to me, watching it, that they took their foot off the gas a little bit. They were keeping possession. It was kind of in the, you could say, the center parts of the pitch, and maybe a little bit higher up. But I mean, not saying that they didn't try to score, but it was more calm, composed. They weren't. I have a feeling it's like those games where you don't want to get injured. Guys want to manage themselves. Just make sure that you keep a clean sheet. You don't need to do anything outrageous. And I feel like that's what happened. They took their foot off the gas. But if they performed and were, very direct and wanted to, punish Inter Miami, I'm sorry, but I think they would have done that. And you know, when people say, "Oh, what was the game like when you know Inter did our better than what Inter Milan did?" I'm sorry, no,
Dembele didn't start. Dembele
no,
fucking came on at half,
yeah.
dude. Didn't even start the fucking game.
And let's just be honest there. That is Champions League final. That is like them going 100 miles per hour. This is a massive, massive game, and it doesn't even compare to that match, right? So let's just be honest. Inter, they were a high intensity game. They were a team that like they did everything. PSG just was significantly better. So you can't compare the two because you take it just it doesn't correlate
I
to
would
one
have
another.
been interested to see what would have happened if they didn't blow that lead to Palmeiras there. Because if they won that game, I forget who they would have lined up against. I think it was Botafogo.
Botafogo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think I would have
Yeah.
been interested to see how that game would have played because the Brazilian teams have had a very good showing as well, man.
Yeah, they have they obviously they like the heat, the humidity. They this is their it's kind of like they thrive in this type of environment, right? There's a lot of Brazilian fans all around here, so it's been massive for them. At the same time, I think it's taken a little bit of time for the European giants to like get into their groove a little bit, and I think it's going to be an interesting with Chelsea and Palmeiras,
I think
again.
Palmeiras is gonna fucking give them a go, man. I really do because
I
Chelsea,
hope so.
Chelsea was in it until fucking who were they? I forget who they were playing.
What about that meme with the Chelsea with the triple decker bus just to fit the players?
It's
I love
it's their
that.
business. It's their business model. It's
Dude, you keep seeing signings and you don't see anything about anyone leaving. And
Uh,
they joked about it last year, having 2 dressing rooms.
Benfica they
it,
played because Di Maria scored a penalty. Like it was tied, and then
that was a great game though. It
Buddy
was
took that
entertaining.
red in extra time. It all kind of fell apart. So it's like Chelsea's getting by, but Palmeiras, I think they'll give them a go in this game for sure.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, I think who do you think for me? It's I mean the juggernaut match is Bayern Munich versus PSG.
Oh
I wish
yeah,
that was like I just
that's.
wish that was the semifinals or the finals.
I got a feeling Real Madrid's gonna fucking steal this
Sneak
thing though.
through.
I do, man. I think they're gonna win it because Job's out now, which is unfortunate. It would have been cool to
That
see.
would have been really cool to see.
Dude, as
Yeah.
soon as he got that
Any
yellow
chance of
last,
you just letting them
yeah,
letting them go?
legit.
No
Why don't we
suspension.
reset the cards once we get to the fucking quarter?
I know.
It's like as soon as that happened, I was like, no, it's such a good storyline. That guy up top for Dortmund, man, he can fucking finish now. He came
You think
from he was at
who's going to steal him?
he was at Stuttgart last year, I guess. I think Dortmund just got him. He is filthy up top, man.
Has there ever been a situation where this is a good I think this is a really good question. Has there ever been a signing that happens, right? Team signs him and he's in preseason and they play against a massive club and then that massive club goes, "You know what? I really like that player. Let
Legit.
me take him."
Yeah.
And it's a double buy. Has that ever
Can you
happened?
get sold
2
twice in a
transfers.
transfer window?
I don't know. I don't know the rules.
The only
on
guy that
but-
could pull that off is Anelka back in the day. That guy transfers for fun.
That was like fucking what's his name? That tweet about Murata. It's like this guy knows he doesn't have to get involved every transfer window.
Yeah.
Guy doesn't- What the fuck? Where's he now? He's in fucking Italy again?
I don't know. He was a
Asensio?
No,
No.
Alvaro Murata missed that
Asensio, he's
penalty.
always on the move.
Dude, he's back at Real now. It was just a loan to Villa.
No, he went to Fenerbahce, I believe. Or
Oh,
he's
did
trying.
he?
Mourinho's trying to get him.
As he should.
What about Real Madrid? This game will be their 67th of the season, a new club record
that
for
that
most
just
games
shows
in a
you
calendar year.
that just shows you the wear and tear that these players have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the amount of games that they have. Did you see the comment by the Bayern Munich's president, CEO? He said like if the likes of these guys are complaining about these extra games, then maybe we need to change the wages and because they're demanding more wages.
Yeah.
Well, then you need to get with the federations because their national team federations are adding more tournaments, right?
Yep.
More games, and they're jamming it in a smaller period of time. which is because it's more money for the federations to make money. But then they're going back to their club and they're having more tournaments, these things like this. I mean, you look at these players, they're assets, and we've talked about it, right? These guys are the money makers for the club. And let's just say the club makes 100 million if they win this, or Inter Miami makes 21 out of just being participant of the tournament, making it out of the first round. Shit, how much money that goes back into the player's pocket? Especially for MLS players, not much.
Yep.
Maybe a couple $100,000 for the whole team, right? Split amongst. Maybe Messi gets a little bit more, but he's saying that where other teams they're getting more. So like, okay, players might accept that, but still the danger of it and the wear and tear. Let's see, like Klopp came out, Pep Guardiola came out and said, yeah, we'll see around January time when the season gets a little bit thicker and more games come in, more wear and tear, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully, guys, they get a good downtime after this when they get knocked out and they take care of themselves. But that's just a little side note for that for people to think about, because everybody thinks about the money, right? And players complain about it mentally, right? How fatigued they must be if game after game. Like you think about 67 games in a year for Real Madrid.
Absurd.
And they have to be on it every game.
Oh,
Why?
yeah.
Because they're representing Real Madrid. And that's the most important thing for that quality of a team, right? They have to produce. You have to.
What would you say to like an American fan that says like, oh, hockey, baseball, basketball, they do X amount of games every single year? I'm just curious your take on that, like, because people are like, oh, that's nothing compared to what basketball or baseball
every other
does.
sport gets a break, and like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah,
an
like
Olympic
how
year.
long is
Basketball's off
I
for
look at
how
it like they're
long?
just not getting beat up or this mileage or the same I don't know, the same amount of wear and tear on their body as they would like in a basketball game or especially a baseball game. I
for
mean,
90
hockey,
minutes?
you could say they're getting more wear and tear.
Than
They're
baseball for sure.
Yeah, but you have how long is their off season, right?
Yeah,
Do they
like
have
everybody,
full time?
Yeah.
every other sport gets some kind of break, and it's like this year there's these guys ain't getting jack shit, especially if you're playing in
2 weeks
Champions
probably,
League.
Matt.
Yeah, if that, man.
Maybe 3.
And like the La Liga president saying this will never happen again. It's like, I understand you're the La Liga president, but you ain't telling FIFA jack shit. Like this,
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you, buddy. You're La Liga president. That's great. And he was very vocal in stopping the Super League. So I like that guy. He's he's awesome for La Liga. But it's like, who's telling? I don't think anybody's telling FIFA anything's not happening.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of things. It's a FIFA run tournament, man.
Yeah, and obviously they had to spend the amount of money to bring the players, because we all know in the preseason games, most of the big players, right? They're with their national team and they're coming in, 2 to 3 weeks after, in preseason because they've only had, they finished the season, join up with the national team, for another 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how many games they have. And then they shut down for like another 2 to 3 weeks and they're joining up. And it's a slow progression to be integrated in your team for preseason. But now you think it's like a stop, start up again, you play, stop, and then you're starting up again. So that might be it makes me a little nervous because your body shuts down and then you start it up again. Yeah, it's an interesting one, but hey, you get 5 million in your pocket, shit, happy days.
Yeah, legit. I think the depth for teams is an issue now too because there's so many clubs who are spending money now.
Yeah.
That I think it's hard to pay. Like, it's hard to tell a guy that he's not going to play anymore because even like middle of the pack English teams, like Brighton's will spend money, Brentford will spend money. So it's and you can go like Saudi's got money, Turkey's got money with Fenerbahce. I think it's hard to tell a guy that he's not going to play at this point if they don't think that's their role. Where in years past there wasn't as much money going around, so you could have a deeper squad because guys didn't really have as many options as they do now with all the leagues.
and other teams are comparing with price points and wages.
Yeah.
So yeah, and most of those contracts are guaranteed,
Yeah.
right? There's no option years where, and that goes to, I've heard conversations through some of the connections that Breck and I have, and you've seen some articles out where Don Garber and the MLS want to start integrating more of these games with La Liga, Bayern Munich, like the Bundesliga, Premier League, and have some of these MLS teams. And we've seen it with the tournament with Mexico. They want to start bringing in other teams and to compete. And for me, if you're going to do that, you gotta follow FIFA regulations,
Yeah.
right? You gotta follow, guaranteed contracts. None of these option years, these bullshit option years, clubs options, this and that. It's bullshit. If you sign a player for 4 years, he's a guaranteed contract.
Yep.
If he gets injured, I don't care. You have him for 4 years, right? That's it. And it's a safety net for the players, it's protection, but you're investing in the player. So you can't just go put him in the bomb squad or whatever. There's you got to spend money to bring the talent in, or players are going to go elsewhere,
Yeah.
right? So if you can't hold players' rights, you leave the league and you go to Europe, and then you want to come back to the MLS. Oh wait, sorry, Houston Dynamo owns my rights. Why? I want to go sign here at this
Yeah.
club. Oh, there's a trade. That none of that shit should have ever happened. It should apply in the league. So for me, if they want to step up with the big boys, and this is just another thing of where the MLS is and how far they are still off of comparing and competing with the big leagues, because you can't, if you do this because it's the American style and this is our way and the rest of the world does this. I'm sorry. Football is a world sport, and we are new to this, right? In the MLS. We're a new league. If you don't start to take it serious, and we all know relegation, promotion, all of that has an effect.
Yep.
Guaranteed contracts, trades, transfers, all of that comes into play. And if you take it seriously, you would see a bigger spike in the league with talent, all around the board. You'd be able to draw in more players, and better competition. And just there was the big article before, right? Who's getting what money at the end? I'm sorry, but MLS players should have said, "Fuck it,
Yeah.
I'm not playing."
Legit.
And then you know what? Put all the pressure on the MLS, and then FIFA would have come down MLS and breathed down their neck a little bit and said, "Sort this out, make it right."
Yeah.
That's just my take on it, and it kind of it still pisses me off because the players are the ones that are being taken advantage of, and they forget.
The only
They
thing, the
forget.
thing that sucks for this actually helps the MLS's argument, and it shouldn't. You look at Toronto now; they're a team that spent a bunch of money. They just fucking cut their two top players.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
cut them. You look at LAF. You look at
they've been an issue for a couple years now, right? I mean,
yeah.
off
Have
the
they
field
ever
stuff,
made the
on the
playoffs
field,
with
just-
them?
No,
I don't know.
I mean,
They're good fucking players, dude.
Great
When they
players.
came, they were world class players.
But I think they had that in their head, and they felt like we're coming to a shit league, and we're going to be able to do what we want, when we want, where we want, and that's not the case. You still got to be a part of the team and present and represent the MLS and help it grow. But on your thing, what you said, Jeff, kudos to the MLS, right? It's grown, it's making money, it's doing great. But to be where they think they are, they're going to have to make serious changes, add serious money, and do what you talked about. It is doing better, right? It's grown. I mean, since we've joined to now, it's crazy how big it's grown. That's good, but they can't compare.
but
Can't
and
compare at
nothing,
all.
like we said, nothing has changed from the PFA, the Players Association, and we talked about this. I think they're garbage. The way they represent the team and the players, I think they're diabolical. You know, when you have the president of the PFA, Bob Foose, who's been there since I was there and before, nothing has changed. He an office with Don Garber. I'm sorry, but like when you go in for strike votes and all of a sudden you walk out and there's a deal done, okay, what chance do we have? You have players that you have to be in the league for 5 years or whatever it is before you're allowed free agency. What? Like this doesn't make sense. And for me, you go, all right, if a player wants to go there, and I understand the reason why, for some people that don't know, the reason why there's the DP rule and there's you don't want the big players to be going to particular markets. Well, shit. Sorry, that's already
Yeah.
happening. So
It happens in
it's not going
fucking
to change.
sports around the world, dude. It's not
Right.
just the MLS. It's how it goes.
It's just exactly how it goes. It's just a fact. So what can you do? Okay, when you have good owners that want to spend money but they're handicapped and they like, hey, they got some handcuffs on, they can't spend. Well, guess what? If if the Crafts don't want to spend money, guess what? Sell the team. I'm sure someone else will see the potential and say, this is what I love. I want to get involved with this.
Yep.
And now guess what? This owner will see something and want to put more money in. Okay, they were originally part of the league that helped it grow. Amazing. Well, guess what? Now you got it's a global sport. You got owners all over here, there, everywhere that see the potential in the MLS. But what do? A lot of them want to stay away from it because it's a single entity. MLS is run by a group of owners, and you get your paycheck from Major League Soccer. You don't get your paycheck from FC Cincinnati. You don't get your paycheck from FC Dallas or Inter Miami. You get it from Major League Soccer. And then when you go in, you say, hey, you know what? I want to have a deal. I deserve, let's just say, 5 million, right? No, I'm sorry, you don't. You're not worth that value. Sorry. Because you have guys in the MLS that think their job is to run the contracts and know what your worth is, your talent, your skill, whatever. Half of them have never played football in their life, and they're making contract decisions, and they're telling the clubs, "Hey, you know what? No, not worth it. No, his
Yeah,
value
I
is
had
not
that
that."
personally. I had a team offer me a
Same
contract.
here.
Everyone was good. MLS said no. He's not worth that. It's like okay, like
MLS said no.
MLS
So you
said no.
agreed with the team?
Yeah, so you have
Oh,
to.
no fucking way,
It
man.
doesn't make sense. Like if a
You
team
can't
wants to
do
spend
that.
X amount of dollars, like they should be able to spend X amount of dollars. I'm
So
not
they
saying for
want
sense or whatever.
they
but
want
you want the
teams
league
to
to grow.
spend less money is what the league
Yes.
wants.
Yes.
That's fucking ass.
So,
back.
but that goes like to a lot of the players that have made that transfer out of the MLS. And this goes another inside information where the fans don't know this stuff, right? Where I was negotiating, Dom Kinnear, one of the best managers I've ever worked with, is like my dad. But when I re-signed with Houston after 2010, I came back from my PCL injury. I re-signed. They gave me a good contract. And when I was re-signing, it was like 2-year guarantee, an option, 4-year deal. The third year and the fourth year were an option. And they
Club
offer, let's
option?
just say what?
Club option?
Club option only.
Okay.
Right? And it's like your salary is like, I don't know, like 300, 350, and the third and fourth year was like 375, 400. Okay? Now, when that happens, you go in for you're asking for more. Sorry, you're only worth this. So then when a club comes in, like a Stoke or an Everton, West Ham, they come in and offer a contract for you, and they go 5 million. You go, well, shit. I made $34,000 my rookie year.
Yeah.
And now I didn't make $1 million at that point, and they're asking for five. They're asking for 5 million from me. But then when they give you a contract offer, it's nowhere near that value. So, and that's where, with the situation with Patrick going over to England,
Yep.
to Derby, I'm sorry, but if Charlotte's going to say he can't go over or whatever, then offer him a really good contract.
Well, Tepper has money too. Like Tepper owns the Panthers. He's fucking loaded. He brought over
So-
fucking Wilfred Zaha. Like he should be able, like is it him who doesn't want to pay, or is it the MLS? Like now, I don't like. How are you supposed to know whose decision it is?
Well,
So
there's like rules. So you
here's
can,
the
if you
interesting
make
part.
100,000, you can't jump to 1 million. They will never allow that. You got to go from 100,000 to 5.7 or 500, 700 maybe, but you can't jump from 100 to 1 million. No matter who you are. If Lamine Yamal was in this league right now and he was playing the way he's doing, he would be on maybe 100 grand, and you
As a
couldn't
rookie,
jump him.
right?
You couldn't go a certain amount.
So you led the league in scoring next year. They're like, we'll give you. You can't go up more than that.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll
Here's
give you
400, maybe
500,000
500.
and then an option year.
Do you
Yeah.
think we've talked about this before, and I have a hard time because you read people who really follow the MLS, and there's the MLS fan accounts on X, and it's like they really want to match up with the other leagues' time when they play.
You mean going on to
The season, off season in the winter,
European
Yes.
calendar?
Do you think
Yeah.
that's a good idea? I think probably for
Since I'm not playing, yes, because I'm
yeah.
not playing in Minnesota in January.
Yeah,
I'll say
like
that.
I think they might think that for maybe transfers and teams, and when a tournament like this comes around, fine. But I think for eyes on the MLS, fans going, I don't think that's a good idea. That's my take on that.
Yeah, because you said that. I remember we had this conversation before where the MLS gives it's European, the rest of the world, they are in that break right now. So the MLS is kind of where all the eyes are,
Yeah.
and then it kind of picks up, and we end during
But
the
for
winter
most
time.
leagues,
Yeah, most leagues.
like even
So
even like obviously like hockey, obviously like football, they're not going on right
There's
now.
nothing like if there wasn't the Club World Cup and the Gold Cup, there would only be fucking MLS right now. Man.
MLS.
And
Yeah.
I think that's big as far as eyes on it. I mean, I don't know what's going on with this Apple deal. Sounders just signed a
Yeah,
cheap-
what is that?
Local.
So they're just signing
but
local
how?
deals. It's like, is Apple done? I was very confused by that tweet.
Yeah, I was
So
kind of looking.
you can sign local deals while still being Apple because some games are still on Fox Sports 1.
Yeah, I
I do not know
honestly,
that.
I was trying to do more research, but I think
I
we
think
all
the Apple
know-
deal is fucking coming to an end, is what's
Yeah.
happening. I
And
don't know.
we've
I
heard-
should have looked into this. I don't know when this contract is up, but it feels like they're just gonna say fuck
It was
it.
a 10-year deal, and they can pull after 2, I think.
Well, then that'll be.
I mean,
Well,
you got to
let's
look
think
at
about this. Does that mean Messi's leaving? Because if they're thinking
I'm
of
starting
pulling
to
out,
think, man, because you heard like Suarez gonna retire. He hasn't re-signed. There was one tweet.
Messi wants to go on loan before the World Cup.
Yeah, so one tweet came out and it said 6 months. He wants to play somewhere before the World Cup. And then another tweet from Fabrizio said that they're fine and they're going to get a new contract done. So Fabrizio kind of crowns everybody in the soccer world as far as information. So I would agree with that. But
it's probably a contract, but yeah, with a loan.
I think it's somewhere in between, man, because it's his last World Cup too. So.
And just to add on that, where the calendar thing.
Yeah,
where,
you could play on loan. Beckham did it every fucking year.
Right. And I think for him to be sharp and be ready, where he finishes, he'll have like a month or so off, and then
Yeah.
he goes right into, this season in January time, whether it's in Barcelona. That would be cool if he joins Barcelona. That would be fucking amazing.
Well, they
right?
can't even register fucking Nico
I know.
Williams. I mean,
They can fix that
they
problem
just
by
fucking
January, right?
paid everybody from fucking 2020. Give me a fucking break, man. 2020, one of the biggest clubs in the world. You're still fucking paying people.
It's insane.
How is that real? How does that
Look
happen?
at Man United.
For
We
payments?
haven't talked about that in a while.
Oh yeah, I'm good on the fucking.
They're not
Can't
worth
feed
to
the
bring
staff,
Yeah,
up,
it's
Brett.
legit. They
But
can't
hold on,
sign
I just wanna
anybody.
add-
They got fucking nobody
right.
coming in.
I want to add one point onto what we were saying before, Gump, that with the MLS and the clubs, so what usually happens is they kind of play off of each other, right?
Yeah.
So the agent will represent and they'll say, hey, the club can only offer you this. Okay, yeah, and then you negotiate. You're negotiating with the league, the club. Then the club has to go to the league and get the approval, and it's all done, right? If they really want you, they'll find a way, DP, whatever, right? But for the other players, it's a bit harder. And they can go, the club can go and use the league and say, I'm sorry, like this is not going to get accepted. This is what we can only offer you. And you kind of are, they play good cop, bad cop.
Oh yeah.
And that's where, for me, there's too much shady shit behind closed doors where I witnessed it. I've seen it. We had a guy sign it in Houston, and I'm not going to name names, but he came over and he got offered a ridiculous amount. And this guy didn't really he invited everybody over to his penthouse suite in Houston, and it was actually crazy. He lasted 6 months, but on paper, on his salary, it was like 250,000. Dude, he made 250,000 his first month. Signing bonus, boom. And his contract was sitting on the fucking counter. On the counter. And he's like he just moved in and he invited everybody over and all these people over. He ordered food and everything. And I don't think he meant it like he was trying to be like a big time. I think he just, and I was asking him because he was asking me like, hey, I think you could be playing in Europe. And I was asking him questions like he played in Spain. I was really intrigued. That's where I wanted to play. I wanted to play in Europe. And he's like, yeah, 100%. I think you can go. And then he asked me, we're talking about contract situations. And he asked me like what I was making. And he was like completely, he made 250,000 in 1 month, like a signing bonus. And that was my whole year's salary. And he's like, this is crazy. They don't take care of the players, this and that. But it was all paid off books. Whether it was like sponsorship, jerseys, or whatever, there was ways for them to finagle things. And it was the MLS, because I had the same thing when I sat down and you wanted to go to, I had to agree to personal terms with Everton when David Moyes was there.
Oh, fucking Everton scum.
And, I had the conversation. Tim Howard, he's like, hey, Geoff, are you going to sign? Have you agreed to personal terms with Stoke? I said, we agreed, but like nothing's concrete. He's like, good. David Moyes wants to talk to you. I ended up having a conversation with him. We negotiated a contract. I was making more money with Everton, right? Agreed to personal terms. I got a phone call from the MLS saying, who the fuck are you to have a conversation with Everton? We didn't give your approval to speak to them. And this is after Everton's come for all-star games and all the times that they come to the States. And I was like, but it's the same price they agreed, the $3 million fee that at that point, it goes from 5 to 3. No, we want 5.
They didn't allow you to talk to him, dude.
They didn't allow me to talk to him, but it was the fact that you value me at this, you try to take advantage of me, and then you say, actually, you know what? Why do you want to go over there? Here, we're going to...
Then they dictate where you go.
Yeah, and here, Geoff, I can't make this shit up. Geoff, I want you to get a piece of paper. I'm in Dom's office, by the way, okay? I'm in Dom's office, and he goes on speakerphone. He's like, I want you to write a pros and cons, okay? You going overseas at this age, going here to there, or what can we do? Okay, you'll be a franchise player here at Houston. League will put this money behind jersey sales, all this, and we'll give you this. That's not a part of your salary, because there are ways that they can manipulate it. And I'm like, yeah, I want to go to Europe. I'm sorry. I want to see if I can test myself, because I didn't want to be the woulda, coulda, shoulda. I wanted to challenge. I didn't care if I made less money. I wanted to challenge myself and play against the best players in the world to see if I was good enough. And guess what? I was. So at the end of the day, I proved to myself and everybody else and all the haters that, you know what, an American, I went over there, I proved it, and I sustained it for a long period of time.
Well, thank fuck you went to Stoke.
Yeah, but you know what? At the end of the day, it was in my head.
Cut it. Hey, Geoff, you forgot the worst part, or the best part, actually. Gumpy, you're going to love this. So when you're negotiating with a team, let's just say I'm negotiating with Inter Miami.
Oh,
my agent will represent me. He'll also be representing the coach. He'll also be representing the technical director. So anytime we want to push, you don't want to piss him off because he's your client also. It's like, It's just like a game.
You got
It's
no
like,
fucking
Yeah.
hope.
So
You got no
and
shot.
that goes for there are a couple, and people need to do their research, right? And I'm not trying to piss anybody off, but this is illegal, right? In most of the world, this is a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
In the States, we do this
I mean, like I
because
said, I say this every show because I learn more. Like nobody knows any of this is going on in the MLS. Like I had no idea this is how it was. Like I've learned more about what's wrong with the MLS every show that we do.
oh, we got more.
Oh,
We got more.
it doesn't, it
and it's
doesn't sound
crazy
like it's fucking running out.
Think about this. You have an agent that goes in that represents the coach. Now you have an agent that represents the GM, and now you have an agent that represents players on the pitch. I'm sorry, but that's a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Easily. And it should be illegal. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. There should be particular agents that just represent coaches. It can't be under the same company because what happens? The agent goes, hey, you know what? You're the GM. Okay, I want my guy that's part of the same agency. We're going to get you in here. Oh, by the way, now we know all his players are straight in, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there might be a few sprinkled in, but I'm sorry, but that is a conflict of interest. It shouldn't be allowed. And guess what? The MLS allow it.
Yeah.
They allow it.
Well, and then
Have
you just
you look
see,
at
and then you just see every year the stands are more filled. So like if you don't know anything of this, you think the league is doing very well because the league
look,
actually is, but they're
so
fucking
people
over
should
the
do their
players.
research.
Yeah, like
People do
like
their
I said,
research.
I would have no idea.
And just look at who represents each GM, who represents each head coach, and then if those coaches or those GMs and the coaches are represented by the same agent and that agent represents players, I'm sorry, but that should never happen. Because guess what? If that happened in Europe and you have to sign, it's once again followed by FIFA regulations. You don't follow FIFA regulations, shit like this happens. And if you're not part of that big agency, well, guess what? You don't get the deals, you don't get the contracts, you don't get the sponsorships, and you won't be looked after in the MLS. So if you don't kiss the ring and you don't go to those big boys, guess what? You're more likely to be out quicker than staying in,
Yeah.
right? And if you look, some of the players that are still around, it's because they're represented by the same agent that has the same coach and the same GM. It's just it. And it's like that's where if you want things to start be taken seriously, then we need to change all this shit. Change it. And let's be serious. Where players getting paid equal to what's happening around the world, right? Take out the DPs, take out the put free agencies in there, and the MLS Players Union get a change because it's nothing's going to happen unless you change the head person and get a new group of people with flesh blood in there to be pit bulls.
Need a shark.
Yeah. The designated player thing. It's like the league's big enough. We don't fucking need it.
Yeah.
There's just I can't believe it's still a thing.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Geoff. That was implemented so that they could pull more players in without hitting the salary cap because they wanted them in certain markets. They were like, look, this is a rule we're going to make up just so you can have more players at a higher price.
But then we're going to grandfather you in. We're going to grandfather you in.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's always these extra rules to make it more acceptable
I think it was with LA, right? Originally, because they had Beckham, then Roy Keane, then they had Gerrard, then they had someone else.
Jorginho. They had
they did.
Yeah, they had dude. They had a squad, but
NYCFC had Pirlo and David Villa too,
and Vieira as the coach.
Mastermind. Oh, speaking of coaches, that report about Pochettino on Saturday, what a crock of shit, man.
Yeah.
What a fucking joke. I've been going back to that guy's Twitter and he never even addressed it, man. So people actually thinking that. So you're telling me Pochettino, who coached at Spurs, is a Spurs guy, loves Tottenham, fucking turned Tottenham down, but he took an interview in the middle of the fucking Gold Cup with Brentford. Like, come the fuck on, man. And him having to address it, and then his, you know what, his celebration after they won the penalty kicks, going to the camera. I fucking love it, man. I know it's not their full squad, but I've always liked Pochettino, and I like the young players that are like, this USA team has fucking grit, man. They're up for the fight. It's not the most talented, but they're like, Diego Luna is a fucking dog. Tillman lays it all out there. Like, these guys, they're up for
Tillman's
it, man.
showing really well, man. I think he gets integrated with that first team, right? We talked about it before. He gets integrated, gets with the group of, the full squad. Shit, man. He's for me, he's a contender, if not a starter in the World Cup, because he gives something extra, something different that no other player on the pitch right now for the US currently has. And thinking, I'm thinking in my head, okay, you bring him and he's playing off the likes of Christian, that stretching defense being super dynamic, and he's like this, he's filling the role of Gio Reyna, right?
Yep.
And he has that kind of
composure about him, right? And at any
composure.
moment he can change the game, like he just seems like he has that. And he seems like a guy that, let's say he goes to Bayer Leverkusen, and he if he gets put into a level that's higher than him, he feels like it looks like he can step up and play with it. So the better team he's on, I think the better he's going to perform.
I also don't think people realize how the balls it takes when you've missed a penalty to step up again in that game and put that thing side net is fucking phenomenal.
And when he hit that post, you could see it like he was.
Like, these guys like we talked about caring about the national team. These guys fucking care, man.
Yeah.
They really do. And it's awesome to see. And if, like I said, like you said, if these guys, even if they don't win it, say they get to the final and lose to Mexico, say that happens, I still think the growth that these young players have had, when you add those other players ahead of the World Cup, man, I know people are pissed that some of those guys aren't here, but I think in the grand scheme of things, the experience these guys are getting, I think this is massive for soccer, for U.S. soccer.
Because you need that. I'm sorry, but you don't need Christian. You don't need those other guys to be here because they've already played in it. They know what the experience is. They've gone through qualifiers. They've done this already. Now you got these guys that are, kind of banding together, stepping up. They're fighting. They're fighting for an opportunity. They're fighting for the U.S., right? And the togetherness as a team. And you kind of see that what it meant, the win. For me, I was disappointed. You give up that shit goal at the end, horrible defending. Like, you can't get split like that, and they score. That should never happen. But you learn from it. There's always good and the bad. You learn from this mistake. Okay, remember this feeling. Hey, when it gets towards the end and we're under the cosh, okay, get it down the channel. Let's defend higher up the pitch. Right? Don't defend deep in our box. Don't let them get back in the game because Costa Rica couldn't come near us.
Yeah.
But you saying that, you have guys that have stepped up. Freeze steps up. Fucking unbelievable. You have all the guys saying he's not even near it. Well, guess what? Now he's in contention to be, fighting with Matt Turner for starting goalkeeper for this year. And guess what? Freeze playing for his club consistently all year, and then Matt going back, he's got to fight for a job now. He's got to fight for a position.
He's in it now.
If he doesn't get it,
and I said it about Tillman, you say the exact same thing about Freeze. That guy scores a. I don't think anybody who isn't like diehard soccer or even like a pretty like big soccer fan, the fucking bollocks it takes to stand in the middle of a fucking net as a goalie and not budge is insane. It's diabolical, dude. And to still save it, because that guy ripped that fucking thing. He's standing like this, man. And he scored.
It looked so badass. Just he knew everything. The goalie coach, they had already discussed it. They knew everything. You could tell.
Well, because he dove right in the game, right?
Yeah, he dove right on every pen. Even the ones they scored, he had a fucking mid on, man. It was unbelievable performance.
Yeah, I mean, credit to him, man. Gives him confidence. He puffed out his chest a little bit. He's feeling good. And you know what? Kudos to him, because you have all the critics. You have everybody, like, obviously, everybody goes completely negative.
Yeah.
Okay, shit happens. Goalie makes a mistake. He's trying to pass out of the back. Guess what? That's what Pochettino wants.
Yep.
He's trying to do it. Maybe he's a little uncomfortable. Guess what? He learns from it. Right now, it's those split decisions in a game. Okay, shit. You know what? Maybe I was trying to thread the needle a little bit. I shouldn't have done that. I should have played it down the channel. Well,
Yep.
guess what? I saw him learn from that mistake because there are parts in that game where he had an opportunity. You know what? You could see he took a touch, it came back. He was looking to play that guy in the midfield and between the gaps, between the above the back four into the center mid, like the 8 or the 6
Yep.
off the side. And there was a little bit of too much pressure, and he was calm and composed, and he hit it on the diag where the halfway, we call it the T,
Yep.
right over there. And it was perfect, right to Pat. He brings it down, plays it off, and then we're up the field. Now, for me, that was a learning moment, and he implemented that learning moment to the match because he didn't take risks, and that's where taking those risks, you learn from mistakes, and they grew. Now, give him a pair of balls, and he steps up and he makes unbelievable saves. Not one, not 3 fucking saves,
Shit,
man.
dude. I was
And they were unbelievable,
Insane.
and they get the win.
Yeah, I was happy for him, man. Because for no reason, everyone was like, this guy shouldn't be. And it's like, I get Matt Turner's a good goalie. Matt Turner's had a lot of burn with this national team.
Yeah.
So give this fucking kid a shot, man. Like, see what happens, you know? It's not like Matt Turner played lights out in the friendlies before this. Like, he didn't look confident at all when they played.
He had a mistake. And listen, Matt is a very good keeper.
Oh, yeah.
We know that.
Yep.
He's a great shot stopper. He's gotten way better with his feet. He made that transfer to Arsenal. You have to be good with your feet. He's stepped up his game there. But I'm sorry, when you're not playing the first team regular basis and you struggle to get playing time and you get in your rhythm, your confidence goes down. Well, you got a guy that's worked hard, has faced some adversity, and now he's stepped up. Shit, kudos to Freeze, man.
I'm sure it's hard for anyone, but a goalie especially, right? Geoff, you touched on it. Like this group, maybe it hasn't been pretty, but they're winning and they're getting better each game. And they've been together for over a month now and starting off with the 2 friendlies, getting their butts whooped pretty much, and everybody hating on it. The Christian stuff, they've had a lot of adversity, but now they're winning. They've been together for a month. They're building friendships, camaraderie on and off the field. So that's kind of what we want, right? Now keep going into tonight's game and get a win.
And then the best part is that people don't realize Pochettino is finding out. Okay, you know the Christian's going to be there, Weston. You know all these guys are going to be there, right? You got Pepe. You got all these guys that are not here.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are your group. Now he's adding on. Hey, you might have this 1 star, 2 stars. That shit. They're fighting for a starting position next year, right? Then you add on the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, all the way right up for depth. Guys that carry themselves, they have good experience, they can gel, they can adapt, they can play multiple positions, they'll do a fucking job and they'll do it good and I can rely on them. And that's what he's going to basically count on. And he's finding that out over this month. He didn't need Christian Pulisic, and where all the people said, "Oh, we need it." You already know what he's going to get.
Yep.
He's a fucking baller and he produces. Okay? That's a fact. Because every time he faces adversity, people try to slaughter him, he always produces. And guess what? That's why Christian's where he is, right? So everybody needs to forget about that. Okay, now it's time for other players to earn their stripes, to get in there, prove themselves, and to make a name. So then they're on that name for the World Cup. That's it. And I think, for me, it's going to be a great game. Guatemala, hey, give them credit because they are feisty. They're
Right.
playing with pride. I mean,
Yeah, but we know, Geoff. We know exactly how this game's going to go.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
little antic,
gonna be a shit show.
Yeah.
talking to the ref,
Yeah.
calling
Yep.
names. It's going to be nasty, but that's the U.S. needs to learn how to play nasty, right?
Yeah,
Just have to.
I don't see how it's not Mexico USA in the final. I mean, then you got that. You'll have that Sunday night at 7 in Houston, which will be an absolute banger.
So
Oh, yeah.
to think of that, like, it's a great point, Brett, and for you to say, Gump, that when the U.S. and that was one of the things that Jurgen talked about, right, and which I learned, right. Jurgen wanted to go play the European giants. He wanted to go play them. He wanted to play Brazil. He wanted to play Argentina. He wanted to go to France to play in France. He wanted to go to Italy and play Italy there. Because
Germany and
those are the
Germany.
teams, the nations that in Germany and Germany. Germany, we played them in DC, right? For the Centennial match. He wanted to play the top nations because that's what you're going to fucking face in the World Cup if you want to compete at that level, right? He wanted players playing at the highest level, playing at the Champions League, Europa League, top leagues, Premier League, La Liga, whatever, you name it. He wanted them playing in the highest leagues because you're playing against the world-class players week in and week out, right? That was his thing. If you can get used to that and that competition and that exposure, the more likely you are to succeed in the World Cup. Right? So now you go this South America, you play against Brazil, Argentina. How many times when you see these games, especially the Colombia game last year against Argentina, it was a fucking shit show.
Oh yeah.
The amount of carnage that was happening with diving and fucking grabbing the face when they didn't get touched. And it's like the shithousery, right? Like it was horrible to watch as a fan, but they're trying to take advantage of every opportunity they can to get someone sent off, a yellow card or whatever. That's exactly what's going to happen if the U.S. get a group and they are with a South American team or a team that has that DNA in them. That we need to step up and one, have composure, get that experience, get these guys to feel that. And that's, for us, when we went through the qualifiers, going through the hex was the hardest part. It was like the next jump before we win the hex, we're guaranteed for the World Cup. Man, you play in Honduras and on a Wednesday and the game's supposed to be at 7:00. Oh shit, you know what? We're going to make it at 3:00 and it's 100 degrees. Okay, well,
Could you
all the
imagine
guys
Atletico Madrid and Honduras?
Fucking burning toes.
Humidity, grass is about this long.
Yeah.
Your
They
calves
try
are
to
cramped
slow
in
the pitch
half.
down
Dude.
so the U.S. can't play our football, so they make the pitch a little bit longer. It's not FIFA regulations. You got a FIFA guy on the pitch. Oh, sorry, nothing we can do.
Yeah, you're
They try to
fucked.
fuck
What are they
you
gonna
over.
do? Mow the fucking lawn? Yeah.
Fireworks
So
all night long outside your hotel.
So all this stuff is really good for these young players to experience it, because I remember my first time going to a CONCACAF for a qualifier, and thankfully I had some big time players next to me with experience, like Carlos Bocanegra. You had Tim Howard behind me. You had Steve Cherundolo to my left or right, and DeMarcus Beasley, and I'm in the set playing center half with them. Shit, the amount of, it's so insane. But I had these guys that were experienced in front of me, Michael Bradley, Jermaine, and I'm there and I'm experiencing this, and they helped me through it. And then after one match, okay, second match, and you get more confident, you get used to it. Now it's like you just laugh at it because you're like, you've seen this. This is page one. It's page two. Oh, this guy's stepping on your toes. He's just waiting for you to give him an elbow in the back, and then he's gonna fall and flap and roll around. And then what happens? They wanted you to get sent off.
Yeah.
And that's where, for us, these young players, it's a great opportunity for them tonight to make a statement and to leave a little bit of a bite and send these guys back home packing, and hey, and then we're off to the finals.
Yeah, I'm excited about this team, man. We'll recap the Gold Cup final next week. We'll have the Club World Cup semis and final the weekend after that. We'll see y'all next time. Cheers.